Welcome to JC Sports. I'm your host, Joe Chap. We're talking Detroit Lions football here on JC Sports YouTube page. Obviously, the Lions are going through a lot of injuries right now. DJ Reader is dealing with a shoulder injury. He should be back this week. Obviously, we know Malcolm Rodriguez is out with a torn ACL. He's going to miss the rest of the year. So that's a big loss, especially when you think about Derek Barnes potentially has been out for a while. Alexander Zoloni has a potential to come back later in the year. So that's good. But Detroit Lions needed to sign someone. So they go with someone they know. And Kwon Alexander signs with the Detroit Lions, and so does Jamal Adams. And Jamal Adams and Kwon Alexander have a familiarity with Aaron Glenn. And that's the biggest part about this because you don't want to really have to throw him trial by fire. Kwon Alexander is going to know all the play calls, the lingo, and everything like that because he's played in the New Orleans Saints defense. With Aaron Glenn, he did a very good scout on Jamal Adams, and even Jamal Adams is like AG from Detroit, and so that's interesting to hear from there. But a lot of Lions fans are they're worried about the injuries that are stacking up. Obviously, when you talk about the injuries that are stacking up, you talk about a linebacker position. Thankfully, none of your safeties have been hurt because, like I said, like I'm going to say right now, um, this team is built the right way. They're built up the middle. You look at the two defensive linemen in the middle, Lee McNeil and DJ Reader. They really they really work hand in hand with each other. Jack Campbell has had a really good year this year as a middle linebacker. And then you look at Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. They're having phenomenal years, potential all pro years, especially with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph's one of the best ball hawks in the league. So when you talk about those guys, you just want to add people into this defense that know the lingo. You want to add people who are hungry. You want to add people who want to be here. And when you look at some of these quotes that I'm going to show you, these players, they want to be here. Let's look at Kwon Alexander's quote on Come to Detroit. A lot of energy, man. Alexander said of what he remembers about Campbell and Glenn. I respect those guys a lot. I'm happy how they're doing up here. I'm proud of them. I'm ready to go to war for them. We've been through a lot together in New Orleans, so I came up here just to go out there and go hard for them. He's talking about what he has experienced with Aaron Glenn and with Dan Campbell in New Orleans, and he says, "I'm ready to go to war with them." Those are the type of players that you want as people that you're bringing into the organization. You want people who want to play here. And what Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and Ben Johnson have done to this organization is players want to be here. Players want to play for the Detroit Lions because of what the head coach symbolizes. Dan Campbell symbolizes that you just go out there, you do your job, and nothing else matters. He is very vocal in that. He doesn't care about a lot of things from that point. He just cares about doing your effing job. Here's Jamal Adams' quote that is very interesting. Adams on coming to Detroit. It's a dream come true. Can you imagine this if Patricia was here? Anyways, Adams said on this opportunity, they didn't have to call me. They didn't need me. They've been doing phenomenal. So just to get that call from a first class organization like the Detroit Lions is a no brainer for me again. I'm just grateful for the opportunity wherever they want me out there. Whenever they call my name and call my number, I'm there. You have two guys that have vocally said to the media that they are wherever Dan Campbell wants them, wherever Aaron Glenn wants them. They're proud to be here. They want to be here. And hearing a player say they're a first class organization is unbelievable. There is nowhere in my life that I thought the Detroit Lions would be a first class organization. I don't think you watching out there thought the Detroit Lions would be a first class organization. We all dreamt of it. We all thought that it could happen. Obviously, with the general managers that have had in recent years, I mean, you go back to Quinn and Mayhew and and Bobby Millen and whatever. We've had so many defunct guys, so many defunct head coaches that we thought would work out, but never worked out. Lo and behold, Dan Campbell is the one that changed the culture. And when you go back to it and you look at first class organization like the Detroit Lions, it's a no brainer for me. What? And then you got this one from Alexander. We're going to rehash it. I'm ready to go to war from them. These aren't just veterans that you sign to this team. Obviously, you need the help with the injuries that you're having. You have guys that want to be here and they're ready to go to war for their coach. They came here because of the coach. That tells me a lot. And when you look at the Detroit Lions and you look at the way they've been playing with all the injuries that they've had recently, and Zaloni going down, you had Derek Barnes go down earlier. Aiden Hutchinson, they're still keeping up. They're still one of the top defenses in the NFL. So it tells me everything I need to know about AG. It tells me everything I need to know about Dan Campbell. It tells me everything I need to know about Ben Johnson. And this team just keeps rolling. And it's never an excuse that comes out of Allen Park. It's never an excuse. Oh, we're injured. That's why we kind of struggled. They had a bunch of guys go down against Chicago, which would have depleted a lot of other teams, and they should have lost that game if they weren't as high strong as they are. Most teams would have lost that game, but Detroit said, "Hell no." He had Elquadine Mohammed just come out of nowhere, a PBU, a sack, a pressure. You have these guys just making plays on the defensive side of the ball, and it comes without saying what Detroit's been able to do. So when you hear about Kwon Alexander and Jamal Adams saying that they want to be here, they're ready to go to war, and whenever Aaron Glenn wants, whatever Dan Campbell wants, they're gonna do it, and that they're ready to go to war. Tells me everything you know about this Detroit Lions team. It tells me everything I need to know about what they're capable of and what they're capable of going forward, because we do expect the Detroit Lions to get more healthy. Carlton Davis is going to be back soon. Could be as soon as this week. Potentially, you could have Alex Anzalone back at the end of the year. So when you're talking about a team that is grounded, a team that is is put so well together by their coach, held together by their coach, this is what we've been talking about. And it's just amazing, man. It's just amazing how this is a first class organization because of Dan Campbell, because of Brad Holmes, because of Aaron Glenn, because of Ben Johnson. I don't think the injuries are going to slow them down. I think they're going to get more stronger, to be honest. And I think a guy like Jack Campbell is going to shoulder a lot of the load. And it's been interesting to see. Like, obviously, this was from after the game on Thursday. This is what he said. This is what Dan Campbell said. Nolan Bianchi put this out there. Dan Campbell asked if he feels snake bitten with all the Lions injuries. Does it really matter? Who cares? Worrying about it and moaning about it and bitching about it. What does it matter? Whoever we have available, we expect them to hold the line. This guy is acting like it's a freaking war. He's acting like it's a war. We're gonna hold the effing line, dude. Like, do you understand? There's no coach that would actually get me out of wherever I'm at, and I would strap on the pads just for Dan Campbell, man. Because every time he says something, with conviction, like he usually does, it's to send a message to his players, and he will never go at it. He will never say anything about his players in the media, but he just expects them to be who they are and be what they're gonna be. And when you hear what Kwon Alexander said here, when you hear what Jamal M said here, it just it shows you what this Detroit Lions organization is about. It shows you where they're going. It shows you what this team is all about moving forward. And we're going to see a lot of things happen with this Detroit Lions team. And I think that they're going to come out on Thursday and they're gonna hit Green Bay in the mouth. I personally believe it. Like there's one thing to be um just good. There's another thing to be a badass. And I feel like this team is just a badass. That's what they are. And when I look at the injuries, yes, you would love to have Hutchinson. You would love to have Derek Barnes back. But what AG has been doing with this roster is pretty freaking phenomenal, man. And let's just see where this goes, because obviously the Lions are getting a little bit depleted, but wherever it seems like whatever these guys do, it works. It just works. And it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks. But getting Jamal Adams and Kwon Alexander could help for the Detroit Lions. I think it will definitely help. But we'll see what happens. We have the Detroit Lions News podcast. We'll be doing a preview pretty soon. We'll be live Thursday in Detroit at Three Kings Sports Cards and Collectibles. Talk Detroit Lions football. And we will see you in the next video to talk more Detroit Lions football here on JC Sports.